So the way your New Testament laid out, you got the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? Those are Christ's earthly ministry to the circumcision, to the Jews. We know through the Holy Scriptures in Matthew chapter 10, verses 5 and 6, and Matthew 15:24, that they were only sent unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. God commanded 12 apostles, don't go in the way of the Gentiles. Then when you get to the book of Acts, these are all the Acts of the Apostles. It's everything appearing and happening after the cross of Christ. And the first half is just mainly dealing with the nation Israel. You go and you look in the book of Acts and you read the audience. It tells you right there, ye men of Israel, ye men of Israel. And it's not until you get to Acts 9 where you see God save a man named Saul. He was God's biggest enemy of his day. And God saved him and said, this is my chosen vessel unto the Gentiles. Now, Gentiles just means all nations. He was the chosen vessel of God to speak to the nations, to the children of Israel, and to the kings. And he basically takes over the scene through the second half of the book of Acts. And he wrote 13 epistles, Romans to Philemon. Those are the exact letters that he wrote. How do we know that he wrote them? His name is the first name that you'll find in every single one of his books. And then you've got those remaining books of Hebrews through Revelation. And it's Peter, James, and John basically writing their letters to the circumcision. And when you observe Galatians 2, 7, 8, and 9, it's very clear in the King James Bible, the gospel of the circumcision was committed under Peter, and the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto Paul. And God worked mightily through Peter to the apostleship of the circumcision, the children of Israel, just as God worked mighty through the Apostle Paul to the Gentiles, to the nations. And they had that agreement that Paul and Barnabas would go to the heathen, and Peter, James, and John would continue just their ministry to the nation of Israel. And God tells us in one verse, 2 Timothy 2:15, how to study His Word by rightly dividing the word of truth. We're separating truth from truth. All of your Bible is truth, and you need to understand how to separate truth from truth, meaning there is truth that God is doing today, Romans to Philemon, that's what God's doing today, versus the truth that God did in times past, versus the truth that God's going to do in the ages to come. That's just a quick run-through of how your New Testament's laid out. And we've been focusing in on those 13 books so that you could understand what God is doing today and you can partake in that ministry.